Today's an interesting day. It's a new day. That's right. For me and for you, because today I'm here with my chat, and today we are going to be looking at people who have royally messed up. Today we are looking at the subreddit. Today I effed up. Somebody says I'm Danieling my Thrasher right now. Pretty good start. Okay. Today I effed up by trying to flirt with a guy at the gym and ending up in a full-blown CPR situation. So this happened yesterday, and I'm still cringing so hard that I might not ever step into that gym again. I, a 22-year-old female, recently started going to this new gym, and there's this insanely cute guy who works out around the same time as me. I've been trying to find the courage to talk to him for the last couple of weeks. Yesterday, I finally decided it was time. Okay, we're setting the scene. We have a young lady, 22, female, fresh out of college. It is her first year paying rent. That is not in a dorm. I said dorm, for those of you who don't understand deeper voice. Okay, she's a real grown-up. She's out in the adult world. Because of all of this, she's eager, she's excited to approach this man. What happens next, you ask? I saw him doing deadlifts, and I thought, okay, casual compliment, easy in. And so she walked by, she smiled and said, "Your lats are majestic." What the F? Majestic? What was I thinking? I don't know why I said that. I meant to say you're lifting a lot or nice form or literally anything else. Okay, if a woman came up to me and said, "You're lifting a lot," I'd be like, weird. What do you mean? A lot of weight? Or like I'm just here a lot? What are you asking me? What are you saying? Saying your lats are majestic? I'm cool with that. That's cool. That's a unique compliment. But she's geeking out because she's 22. She hasn't lived enough life to know that this is a rare W. He looked confused and said, thanks. And I panicked and decided to just walk away and die in the locker room. Okay, so we're dealing with a cat. The person who posted this is, in fact, a feline. I know that because cats, when it's time for them to pass, they generally go off by their lonesome because they don't want to inconvenience the pack. The peers, you know what I'm saying? And so this woman who said something, she embarrassed herself, and now she wishes to go off into the locker room and pass on, which is a beautiful tradition. While trying to speed walk away in embarrassment, I tripped over a medicine ball someone left in the way, my face planted into the floor, and I knocked the wind out of myself so hard I couldn't breathe for like 20 seconds. Okay, a medicine ball. A medicine ball is a weighted ball that you see people at the gym, they pick them up, and sometimes they'll throw them down on the ground. You take them, you do sit-ups, and they can be anywhere from a couple of pounds to like heavy, 10 pounds, and they can get pretty big. So somebody left what is essentially a ball of sand in the middle of the floor. As she's walking, trips over the medicine ball. And then what? And then what happens? I don't know, but you know what's going to happen in this instance? Do you know what's going to happen now? I bet you don't know what's going to happen now. Surprise! Microphone! Let's continue. Her face planted into the floor and she knocked the wind out of herself so hard that she couldn't breathe for like 20 secondos. A trainer saw it happen, thought I might be having a heart attack, and started actual CPR protocol before I could wheeze out, "I'm fine." She trips, knocks the wind out of herself. Some trainer nearby is like, "Oh, she's dying." Not checking the airways, not putting his hand over her mouth and hearing, not checking for a pulse first, right? Starts wailing on that thing. Wailing on that thing. That same cute guy helped hold my legs up while I got oxygen. More blood flow to the brain. Pretty sure I died inside. Anyway, now I'm the CPR girl at the gym. And yes, I still plan to go back. I cannot. Crying emoji. TIFU. Today I messed up. What are we all thinking? I think it's kind of cute. It's a good meet cute story. Yeah, you know, I could see this being like a rom-com starring what's her name? Jennifer Lopez. Kissing Booth. You know, I auditioned for that movie. A lot of people don't know. I think I got a call back or something. And when I was in the waiting room, I was surrounded by really gorgeous individuals. And I was like, oh, I don't think this is going to me. All right, I think we've read enough. Yeah, I think this is crazy. We're going to scroll down now. We're going to see what's going on. What if they ended up dating? Top comment says flirt. Step 1. Step 2. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Step 3. He had my legs in the air while I laid there, completely out of breath. Sounds like a success to me, lol. I suspect Op has come into possession of a certain lamp, and the first wish did not go as planned. Well, you made an impression? Not unlike a plane crash makes an impression. That guy may not be into you, but he's gonna remember you. Not always a win. I think that's not always a W. Next time, you should wait until he's benching and say, your chest is pectacular, and then jump out of the closest window. That would really establish your brand. I date a chick that does that. That's my kind of crazy. All right, settle down. We're going to look at the next story now. This next story is something that is near and dear to my heart. But before I show you the story, there is a picture that kind of just popped up that is similar to this story. So here's a picture just to kind of prep you. Here's the picture. My cat is an iPad kid. We see a cat. He's on the iPad. We love this. Okay. Today, I effed up by turning my cat into an iPad kid. Recently, my TV broke, so I decided it would be cool to replace it with a projector. A few days ago, the projector arrived, and I spent a few hours setting it up and playing around with it. And then I had the bright idea to put on one of those videos made for cats, the one with insects, lasers, and mice, to see how my cat would react. She effing loved it! Naturally, I let her watch for about an hour before turning it off for the night. She protested a little, but nothing too serious at least, not compared to what was coming. Over the next few days, I foolishly let her watch the projector a few more times, thinking it was hilarious how excited she was about her new toy. Can I say something? I have two cats. One's name is Whitey, the other cat's name is Gray. They're twins. They look just like each other. And the reason why I named them Whitey and Gray is because Whitey has white tips on his ears and Gray had fully gray ears. And when they were kittens, really, really hard to tell them apart. But Gray will sit on my entertainment console under my TV. I have a computer attached to my TV, okay? And as I'm moving my mouse, the cursor on the TV will go like this, and Gray will sit on the entertainment console and he'll look up at the mouse, and literally the mouse will come up and he'll go like that. He'll paw it, bam, and he attacks it. He's very vicious. As time went on, she started getting a bit more vocal, growling and meowing at me to get my attention. I soon realized it was because of the ads. She was throwing tantrums because she couldn't stand waiting. Now, she complains whenever I turn it off or if she gets interrupted. In bonus points, my YouTube now thinks I'm a cat. Okay, so iPad kid is interesting. Is this even a thing? This is less of an iPad kid cat and more of a male lead in a 90s sitcom cat. This is more of a King of the Hill cat. Let's continue. Today I effed up by taking my girlfriend on an expensive date for her birthday, and she broke up with me on our way back. My now ex-girlfriend and I have been dating for a few months, and it was going great. A few months, 3 months, 3 or 4 months. That is what, 90 days? Let's be generous. Let's say 120 days. Good amount of time to get to know somebody. I think about 3 months. How long, pop quiz. How long until you tell your partner you love them? How long? I think on average for me, 2 to 3 months. On average for me. 2 to 3 months. About a month? Never. Terrific. Depends. Okay, that's a diaper brand. Until you actually love them is the correct answer. Somebody said balls. Really a big fan of that answer. When you can't stop yourself from saying it. That's very good. I like that a lot. Her birthday was yesterday, and a few days before, she told me that she wanted to go to this expensive restaurant that she has always wanted to try. I love her and wanted to make her birthday special, so I agreed. Okay, so at the girlfriend's request, she says, hey, let's go to this beautiful, tasty, delicious restaurant. It's expensive. Is that okay? Guy goes, yes, of course. I love you. So we got to the restaurant and had a pretty good time, despite the fact that she ordered some of the most expensive items on the menu. So we're talking lobster, caviar, charcuterie, a plate of cheese. This is what a good charcuterie board looks like. Oh, we got some good cheese over here. Oh, and we got some sharp cheddar over here, dude. Whatever this is, radish, I think. Ah! You ever heard of charcuterie? Char, from the Latin Charmander. Cootery, from the Finnish coochie. I just enjoyed the fact that she seemed to be enjoying herself. She was taking lots of pictures of the food, the flowers I got her and everything. You got her flowers? I like that a lot. She told me that it was the best birthday she has ever had and that none of her ex-boyfriends had ever made this much effort on her birthday. Prediction? This poor fella is probably in the gym right now. My brother in Christ is in the gym currently, tearing up his pectoral musculars, crying as he lifts up the weights. Perhaps he has majestic lats, and perhaps he's the guy that the woman in the previous post is hitting on. Happy ending for everybody? Let's find out. This made me feel pretty good because I was anxious about doing everything right, and so she has a good time. On her way back, she thanked me and told me I'm a really good guy, and she had a great time today, but she doesn't think that this relationship will work, and she wants to break up. You ever heard of the phrase, a compliment sandwich? A compliment sandwich is something that weak people do to people that they think are weak to soften the blow. Hey, I can show you that there's a fat turd on this plate, or I could try to sneak it in you by putting it between 2 pieces of lovely bread. Which one do you want? My prediction? Maybe she just sucks. Let's continue reading before we make any assumptions, okay? At first, I thought she was just playing around until I realized that she was serious. I asked her why, and she said that she is just not attracted to me. She tried, but it's just not there, and she doesn't want to string me along as it would be unfair for the both of us. So anyway, we had an awkward ride back while the driver tried making cheerful conversation. She did this in the back of an Uber? Oh, man. Edit. I decided to text her and asked her if she could please reimburse me for her part of the meal, as it's only fair. And she blocked me after reading the message. It blows my mind that the term gold digger is so interesting to me, because there are so many people who have money and are attractive that it's like, if you're going to gold dig, make it somebody you're attracted to. You know, overused term. I agree. I think gold digger is an overused term. It was really popular a few years ago. What do you think, Daniel? I think they're very young. That's what I think. I think this is something like a 16 or 17-year-old would do. And there's a part of me that's like, what if I'm reading this and I'm thinking that this person, this guy reading this is probably 16 or 17. And my other thinking is that like the driver, they didn't say Uber driver. They just said the driver. Kind of makes me think that this is like your brother or your older sibling or something. Well, but then again, no, you have a Venmo and you're using like your own money to pay for it. I think this kid is 16. That's what I really think. I think this is something a young person with not a fully developed prefrontal cortex would do, is to not have the ability to see just beyond the next 15 minutes and go, oh, I probably shouldn't eat that dinner and then break up with them after the dinner. I probably shouldn't do that, because if I did that, that would look really bad. We're dealing with a girl or a woman who does not understand life yet, doesn't understand people. Or she does, and she doesn't respect this guy at all, nor does she think he'll ever amount to anything, because if she did think he would amount to something, she'd be worried for her reputation. She doesn't think he's respected. She doesn't think people listen to him. And because of those things, she's able to do this. If she's older, but if she's 16, 15, 16, 17, just not a thought. Not a thought in the world. I think we're going to read some comments here. Let's see what people think. How convenient that she had this epiphany right after ordering all the expensive things at an expensive restaurant. Op says, that is what I don't get. She must have known how she felt before this, and I don't judge her for breaking up with me based on not being attracted to me, but she could have told me before. She wanted to take advantage of the opportunity and enjoy herself, which sucks, to be honest, because I was there thinking that I was having a good time with my girlfriend while she secretly knew what was up. Look, in every relationship, almost, but in almost every relationship, there's a moment where one person knows the relationship is over and the other one doesn't. And that time period can be a minute, a day, weeks, months, and years. This person knew for a little bit. They've only dated for a few months. And she let him spend buku buckaronis on flowers, expensive dinner, the Uber. I don't know. I think it's his older brother. But look, I think a big sign of maturity is your ability to determine, you're able to weigh, you're able to assess your emotional maturity, your partner's emotional maturity, and your ability to make intelligent, mature decisions in ending the relationship when you know it's over. The sooner you can end a relationship that you know is not working out, the better off you're going to be. Because the longer you are with the wrong partner, the less time you're going to have with the right person for you. Let's see some more comments here. It sounds like she took advantage of you, bro. You dodged a bullet. Hope you find someone that appreciates the effort you put into the relationship. Don't let this experience get you down too bad. Maybe take yourself out for a nice dinner as a little pick-me-up. Treat yourself. Sorry to read this. You didn't F up. They did for being a garbage person to string you along for free meal before saying she wanted to break up in a Lyft, Uber, whatever it was. I cringe every time I think of the fact that we weren't even alone. I just wanted to disappear. I felt so small. She should feel small. She used a person for an expensive free meal and to take a million pictures to show off on social media. Oh, I completely forgot about that. She was snapping pictures for social media. Awful. Absolutely awful. Today I effed up. Random flea market item turns out to be radioactive. I bought this random item in a flea market in Berlin because it looked cool and it was cheap. It's been in my wardrobe ever since until I took it out yesterday to take photos of it because I found out about the what is this thing page. Lots of people came back with different answers, but a few people said it looks like it was radioactive and that I should go to my local fire station to check it out. This morning, I phoned the non-emergency fire brigade number and explained the situation. 2 minutes later, 3 fire engines arrive to test the object, which was, in fact, radioactive. They then called for backup, and 3 ambulances 3 police cars and a counter-terrorism CBRN bomb disposal unit arrive. They evacuate all the flats in the building, and after 4 hours, they finally remove the object. It turned out to be thorium. I'm not sure about the isotope number or radiation levels. Here's a link to the original post. Opening it up. Boom. I think this is the raw thorium here. Boom. Boom. Why don't you apply that like lipstick? Turn into She-Hulk or whatever. You know, I think you probably could have figured out it was radioactive when you grew up with a third arm. I probably would have figured it out. If I'm waking up one day, I go and I sit on the toilet and I feel something pressing up against the back of the toilet, and that's my tail. That'd probably tell me. Unfunny, my guy, that can cause cancer. What, having a tail? You didn't F up. You provided valuable low-stakes training for multiple emergency services. Good firefighting crews train/plan for so many scenarios, radioactive threats being one. This just happened to be the perfect thing to test with more real-world variables than any training/planning could account for. You're out for some money, but now I have an awesome life story. Did they have any health advice for you based on what they found? I wonder how that thing ended up in a flea market in the first place. I am by no means an expert, but ops should be okay. Thorium primarily produces alpha and beta particles as it decays. Alpha particles do not travel very far in general and are definitely stopped by the casing. Beta particles can travel further, but usually aren't super dangerous unless you have it up against your skin. Even a layer of clothing will block most of it. There is some gamma radiation produced, which is generally the most dangerous kind and has deep penetration even through lead, but thorium usually doesn't produce a whole lot, and the fact that OP wasn't carrying it around means they're unlikely to have gotten a dangerous dose. So they're fine. All right, chances are high that they're fine. You know, it would be pretty spooky if you had that thing in your wardrobe with your clothes, and then you were like, hey, I think this could be maybe radioactive. And then suddenly every flat is evacuated. Every single one? That's weird. That's weird, isn't it? Oh, crap. I read the header and assumed it was glow-in-the-dark glass you got in a trinket of. This is quite a different beast, suggesting that it's far more radioactive. Or an old clock with the radium painted dials. Radium painted dials. Old and flaking radium paint is likely to be far more hazardous than a thorium rod. Thorium is a cool name. Next time you're out with a loved one, be radioactive. Show appreciation for flowers. Get smiley and proactive. I'm rhyming active with active. Shut up. Chat is letting me know that I should let you know that this next story has farts in it. So if that's not your bag, this is probably where you're going to duck out of the video. Today I effed up by passing gas on the dance floor. I am a mid-30s female. Okay, y'all want to talk about radioactive for a second? Get somebody in their mid-30s to do a little toot. That will clear the floor. That will just destroy everybody. And you know a fart is bad when it's warm. I know, it's gross. I know, I'm sorry. Last night I went out for a Halloween dance party. Fun story. When I was in college, I applied for something called the Great American Condom Campaign. I sent a little questionnaire response over to Trojan, and I guess I filled out these questions right, because when I got to college, I was sent a box from Trojan. In that box was 500 condoms for me to pass out. What I did was I dressed up, became the Trojan man, and threw condoms at everybody at any Halloween party I would go to. I had a jack-o'-lantern bucket full of 500 condoms my freshman year of college. This is true. And I went to Halloween parties, and I grabbed a handful, and I was the candy man. Candy of choice? Trojan. But that's what Halloween parties reminds me of. It's who I was in college. I was a man throwing condoms at a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds from a jack-o'-lantern. I'm a mid-30s female, and last night I went out for a Halloween dance party. I worked really hard on my costume. I was the perfect combination of warm and slutty, and I was excited to strut my stuff. The way that this bar is set up is that there's a main level upstairs, and then you can walk downstairs to go to the dance area. It's a pretty small place, so it gets crowded. I had taken some mushrooms earlier in the evening, and I was feeling good. So how are we to believe anything in this story, then? How are we to believe anything? Let's keep reading. At some point in the night, I had to quote-unquote cut the cheese. I thought it would be a small one. I thought I could just crop dust it, but it was the most silent/deadly/toxic/foul mushroom stink bomb of my life. Here's the thing, though. If you're dancing on a dance floor, everybody's breathing, huffing and puffing. They're all eating throughout the night, too. They're, maybe there's like nachos at the bar or something, or like grape nuts or something, something to chew on. Oniony breath, ranch breath. People are chewing gum. There's perfume in there. There's cologne, there's sweat, body odor, there's masks. You're wearing Halloween costumes, plenty of layers. People are wearing masks on their face. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of layers between my butt and your orifices to receive the demon that came from my butt cave. How is it noticeable? So far, I'm like, no one's gonna notice. Everybody's dancing, getting up. Well, let's see. The smell from my ass destroyed the dance floor. People cleared out. It was so bad. People thought that someone had an accident on the floor. Like, they turned up the lights a little bit to see and make sure there wasn't a health hazard. Even the DJ made a comment. Wow. So you were out there, you were on the dance floor. You let out something you thought would be a little smaller. And it was so monstrous that the entire dance floor had to clear out, and they had to check to see if somebody dropped a turd on the dance floor, dude. Oh, man. I went upstairs because I couldn't stand the smell of my own ass. I was up there for about 30 minutes, and when I came back down, I could still smell my ass. It's all anybody could talk about. They thought someone had an accident. I had to play dumb. I was so embarrassed. Folks, the reason why I don't fart in front of people is not because of the sound. Fart sounds are so funny. Of course I'd be farting in front of everybody, dude. If I could get away with it, dude, I would be playing the butt trumpet everywhere I go. I would be accompanying myself with the full orchestra in my ass. I would punctuate every sentence with a toot. The sound is not the problem. Farts are double-cheeked, if you will. On one cheek, it's got a sound, and on the second cheek, the smell. The smell is the problem. And in some cases, it's lethal. Here's something interesting about your sense of smell. You have something in your brain. It's called a limbic system. In that limbic system, two things are right next to each other. Your olfactory bulb, which is your sense of smell, and your hippocampus, which is your memory. And so something passes through your olfactory bulb, your sense of smell, and it goes right into your memory, which is why you can smell a perfume or a cologne or a candle or baked bread or something, and you are immediately transported to your grandma's house, your ex-girlfriend's car from high school. Your brain does that. Neurophysiology. And maybe there was something in our ancestry that told us that certain farts are deadly. That what I'm smelling right now reminds me of the rotten flesh of my ancestors, so I need to leave for my safety. Those are the kind of farts that people can eject from their butt prison, from their lower back attack. You're affecting their memories. Somebody commented, I have autism. Excellent way to enter the conversation. Well, folks, we did it. I'm not sure what we did, but we did something. Sometimes you gotta go. Sometimes you gotta let it rip. Sometimes the people ought to know that your booty gonna let it slip. I'm talking about a fart. Sometimes you gotta let it go. Sometimes you gotta give it the what for.